Let's get ready for Monday Mortgage Minute with your hosts, Tom McNamara and Bruce Woodburn.
Hey there, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
Fantastic. I just never can get over the announcement when for the beginning of this show. Sounds like we're going into a bare knuckle fight.
Well, you know what? Sometimes this industry is a little bit of a bare knuckle fight. So
Yeah, and they had their first bare knuckle fight in Orlando over the weekend. Did you see that?
no, I missed
Oh
that.
my gosh, MMA fighting has gone to a whole new level. I felt like there was a bunch of realtors and lenders out there just duking it out.
Oh man, I'll have to check that out. Well, hey, speaking of a fight, right? So a lot of our customers, people that want to buy homes, can't because of poor credit, right?
Right?
And some
Credit
bad
is definitely one of the challenges that people deal with.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know we have prepared a little bit of information, like a top 10 list, right? Things
Yeah.
to do and not do. So let's go ahead and get on it.
Yeah, let's get on it. So if you have a client or you're struggling with credit and trying to get things removed, we're going to go over the top 10 things not to do or to do so that you don't make these mistakes. So first thing is, don't try to fix it yourself. You're not an expert at it. Even though you think there are things that you should do, oftentimes they will cause more problems than they will fix. I had a client recently called me and they were all excited because they paid off all their debt just before closing. Meant the lenders got to repull credit to now show these balances are zero. And because the debt went down, there was nothing to report and it actually affected their credit negatively. They were completely shocked by that, but that can happen. So the reason I don't recommend you do it yourself is that when I look at somebody's credit, Tom, and I'm trying to improve a score, whether it's to help them qualify or maybe it may be just to help them get a better interest rate. I look at every individual credit line that they have and we run it through an analyzer with all three bureaus. So you got to remember, let's just say you got 10 debts that I got to review. That means I've got to do 30 different analyses, one for each bureau, because each bureau may not give you the same score as the other one by doing a certain thing. As a matter of fact, I was running one the other day where I showed a Capital One that was maxed out, was totally, matter of fact, it was above the max. And then I ran pay it to zero. It made no effect on them whatsoever.
Right.
You wouldn't know that. But if you were a consumer, you may go, well, I'm going to pay $5,000 off on that card. Well, that might have been that $5,000 might have been better served to distribute it with other cards that would have given you the score increase. But the consumer doesn't know that. So don't do it yourself. Number two. All right. Don't pay off collections that are older than 1 year old. So if they're a new collection and you just found out about it, it's okay to go pay it off. However, sometimes the damage is already done. It's already done. And a lender's got to charge you a factor based on what that collection is. Usually it's 5%, meaning they're going to use 5% of whatever the balance is on that. That's typical. But in some cases, I won't even count a collection with some types of mortgages. So there's no point in paying it off. But what happens, Tom, is if you go back and you go, oh, I've had that collection for 3 years. Well, it's already started to fix itself.
Right.
The older the credit, the less of an impact it has on you. So what you've done is you've just brought it up to the top of the list. And now you're going to have major impact on it. So don't pay off old collections. Consult with somebody that knows what they're doing. And here's another thing. I'm not crazy about most of these credit repair companies. They're in it for the money. I don't get paid by fixing your credit. I just am able to help you save more money. So don't get duped into falling for one of these credit repair companies that overcharge you. And in some cases, people do need credit repair. In most cases, we can guide them in the right direction.
Got it.
All right. Number 3.
Number 3.
All right. Don't call the collection company to discuss the account unless you're prepared to pay it in full. The reason for that is it's a collection and it's already been reported. So as soon as you call them, it reactivates the current account. So
Sure.
now you just took an old account and brought it to the top, and you're going to start really affecting your credit negatively. And then if you're like, well, I didn't agree with that doctor bill that they sent me. My insurance was supposed to pay it. Then they're going to tag it as a dispute. Now, you think disputes are good because they're removed from the scoring model. When you dispute an account, it's removed from the scoring model.
Okay.
And you may go, well, that's great. But that's when Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and HUD came in and said, any disputes have to be removed. Now, try to remove it after you've already disputed it without paying it. It won't happen. So you really caused yourself a lot more damage than you really needed to.
Got it. All right. Let's go to number 4. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Don't negotiate a reduced payoff if you're trying to get a collection removed. So you have to make a choice. Do I want to improve my credit? If I want to improve my credit right now, you short paying the collection agency ain't going to work, right? So what you want to do then is say, hey, look it, I'll pay you in full, but only if you delete it from all 3 credit bureaus. Now, they may or may not. Now, some cases, I've told the client, don't even call them and ask them, because these guys are trying to get as much money as they can. Just mail them a check. Don't pay it by credit card. We're going to talk about that. Mail them a check with the account number on there. And in the memo section of the check, it says paid in full in return for deleting from all 3 credit bureaus. Now, if that collection agency cashes that account, that check, it's contractual at that point. Now, if they send it back to you, then they weren't willing to work with you. But if they cash it, that's a contractual obligation. Then you can go back and go, hey, wait a minute. You cashed my check. I got a copy of this check. It says you can only cash this check if you remove it or delete it from all 3 bureaus. You got a contract.
There you go. All right.
Okay.
I went a little out of order there. So number 4, we went backwards. Don't pay it over the phone.
Yeah, don't pay it over the phone. The reason you don't want to pay it over the phone is you have no record. They're going to get you to try to pay it over the phone with a credit card. But if you negotiated a reduced payoff or having it removed or deleted, and you did it over the phone, how are you going to hold that collection agency accountable to that? You have nothing to go by. So you always want to pay it by check. I mean, the old-fashioned check, because then you write in that memo section, paid in full. And if you can, you would say paid in full to ABC Collection Agency and XYZ, the original creditor. Because what happens is the original creditor didn't get paid by you.
Right.
So they've sold it to multiple collection agency. So you pay collection agency A, and then collection agency B pops up on it 2 weeks later because they bought the account as well. You better have a record that it's paid in full.
Okay. Wow. All right. Number 6.
Number 6, never agree to make installment payments on a collection account. It's the worst thing you could do. So either you pay it in full or you don't even talk to them. Because if you go into an installment agreement with them, then let's just say I have a collection for $2,000 and I'm willing to pay you $100 a month until it's paid off. $200, name the price, doesn't matter. Every time that payment's made, it's a late payment. And they bring that up as a late payment until the account's paid in full.
Wow. That's harsh.
Never make installment payments on a collection.
Gotcha.
Don't do it. All right. Number 7. Boy, this is hard to follow in math here. 6, 3, 4, 7.
Well, we went out of order once.
I love it. I love it. All right.
Number 7.
So some people think, oh, you know what? I just want to close a bunch of accounts that I have left open that I don't use. Let them go. Just let the credit card company close them when they want to. Don't close them or it could affect your credit negatively.
Sure.
Don't ask me why. It doesn't seem right, but there's a lot of things that aren't right with credit, but it is what it is. You
I
just
actually know
have
the
to
answer
know
to
the
that
game.
one. I know why that hurts you, because one of the key factors is the age of your credit, right? Your
Sure, of
credit
course.
profile. And so if you have an account that's been open for 10 years and you close it, you drop a 10 out of the average,
Oh, for
and all
sure.
your 2, 3s, and 4s are only things that's there. So I mean, I've got credit cards that are 22 years old that, I
Never close them.
never close them, right?
Never close them. But now the creditor may close them for you if you don't use them. So it's always a good idea to, even if it's got a 25% interest rate on it, go put a tank of gas in and pay it off when you
Well,
get
that's
home.
what I do. Yeah, yeah. I swap them around. I've got about 8 cards, and I don't use them all the time. But I swap them around. I'll cycle one in and I'll cycle one out.
Right,
So,
right.
yep.
All right.
All
Number
right, next
8.
one.
Okay. Don't ever exceed 30% of your credit limit, even if you plan on paying it off in full at the end of each month. Now, listen, if you're trying to fix credit, you need to keep your credit balance at about $5. That's it. Not zero, not 30%. Once you have good credit, never exceed 30%. But I've got people that come to me and say, I've never made a late payment in my entire life. Why are my credit scores in the low 700s and not the low 800s? Because you're charging your debt up to the fullest and then you're paying it off. Well, what day does your creditor report to the bureaus? Because if they report on the 15th of every month, and you're paying it off to zero at the 25th of every month, then the bureau always thinks you're maxed out on your credit limit. So
Yep.
it affects you. Don't do it that way. You'd be better off to have more credit cards and always stay under that 30% limit.
Now, the nice thing about that particular one is that's really quick to fix, because I exceed 30% on one card kind of often.
Yeah.
And and then I pay my cards every
But
month.
you're maintaining good credit. Your credit
Right.
scores are 800, so you're maintaining it. So
Right.
remember, these strategies are for people that are
Perfect.
trying to improve credit, not maintain good credit.
That's right. That's right. And by the way, 10% is even better. It's anything under 10%
For
is like,
sure.
that's rock.
100% correct on that.
Yep.
All right, number 9. All right, you should always have 2 to 3 major credit cards to build good credit. That doesn't mean a Best Buy card. That's not a store card. That is a major credit card. Visa, MasterCard, Discover
Amex.
Card, American Express. These are the things that are going to help you build your credit. But you must have at least 2, if not 3. You don't need 10 of them. All right.
No.
It's not important, but you won't get the benefit of your credit if you don't have them. And again, don't pay them to zero. As soon as they're at zero, the creditor's not going to report to the bureau. You don't get the benefit of it. So keep
Right.
it at a low balance.
Got it. Got it. Hey, by the way, that's another tip. If you do have good credit and you want to pass that good credit on to your kids, there's a couple of cards. Amex is one of them. Some of the MasterCards. If you add an additional user at one of your children, even if they're under 18, you don't even have to give them the card. You can just shred it like I did. But you put them on as an additional user, and they
An
will build
authorized
credit.
user and they'll build credit. We're running
Yep.
out of time here, though.
Yep.
Okay. So
We're on number 10.
the last thing is don't use Credit Karma for a free service. Credit Karma is a free service because you are the product. They're selling your credit data. Same with TurboTax. Don't use stuff for free, you guys. That's why your information is being sold. And it's not being sold just to American companies. They'll sell that to anybody that'll buy it, including overseas buyers. So don't use free services. Go to annualcreditreport.com. You can get your free credit once a year from them.
Awesome. Awesome. Bruce, this has been fantastic. We got about 14 seconds left. So I wish you a great week, and I'm sure I'll be talking to you a lot.
Next week, we're going to talk about all the benefits of an FHA transaction. So you'll want to tune in for that.
There you go.
Have a good one.
Great one, man.